You don't want to tattoo yourself.
Go!
In the moment I kind of took an interest in tattoos, it was like, that was my sole focus. I had to do it, there was nothing else. It was definitely do or die.
You know who we got here?
My earliest memory of seeing a tattoo was my uncle who was in the Royal Marines. He had a traditional dagger on his arm going through a bulldog with his commando unit, blood type in case he got shot. And I just remember thinking it was the coolest thing in the world that it wouldn't come off. You know, that was there forever, it was permanent. I got into like heavy bands and heavy music and stuff, and I saw that the guys on stage, they're covered in tattoos. That obviously impacted me when I was younger. I think that's when my interest really started in tattooing. I got sent to live with my dad, who was stationed in Germany at a British Armed Forces base. I was 15, finished school there, and there was a rumour going around at the school that there was a tattoo shop outside the camp where they wouldn't check your ID. And obviously I thought, oh, this could be my chance to get my first tattoo, you know. So I waited till he was on 24-hour guard duty and I snuck out. You know, I went to the shop, I picked something off the wall, I got it done there and then, and the whole experience was just incredible, you know. I was fascinated by it from then. But you know, I think I wore like a jumper for like 4 weeks, like trying to hide it, you know. And then I just became obsessed from there. I was drawing all the time, mainly replicating like old tattoo flash that I loved. And it wasn't very good at first because I hadn't really invested myself when I was younger in art, but I was so fixated on the concept of tattooing. I was like, this is something that I have to really dedicate myself to. And yeah, then I guess it's learning about machines, learning the technical side of it. I was lucky enough to get a chance in a shop, and they invested some time in me, you know, showing me how to do things, how to set up cleanly, teaching me like how to draw better, how to like tattoo better. That was really important, you know, to sort of have that. And then randomly the opportunity for me to move to Australia came up. I'd only done like a handful of tattoos at this point. I managed to get in a shop on the high street doing like tourist tattoos. They didn't really care that I hadn't really tattooed much. They were like, oh, have you got machines? I was like, yeah. They're like, there you go, off you go. So it was pretty like do or die kind of situation, but I learned quickly while I was there, and they took 70% of my money, but I didn't care because I was tattooing. Obviously you can be shown so much, but at the end of the day it's something you just have to do, and then you get better every time you do it. So obviously in the beginning it's terrifying. Your nerves always get the better of you. It still is now, but those first few ones you do, you just got to have some friends that don't really give a fuck, and they're just willing to be like, look, let's do this. And then you fail, but every time you fail you get better, and that's just how it goes, you know. So in the beginning I'd set up and I'd practice tattooing my thigh. It's hard to tattoo yourself, you know, because it hurts, you can't really concentrate, you don't really know what the fuck you're doing in the beginning, but it's getting used to you holding the machine and actually doing it. But that was it, just in the early days, you know. These days I find that a lot of the time people really heavily research who they want to get tattooed by. You know, you've got things come out like Instagram, Facebook, whatever. It's different. In the old days you'd go into a shop, you'd pick something off the wall. People still do that and that's cool, but a lot of younger people I find are like, you know, they're looking on Instagram at people's work and then they decide like, okay, I like this kind of thing or I like this kind of thing. They'll email me with some reference photos of stuff that either I've done or you know, that they've seen that they've liked, and they're like, look, I like something like this, I'd like to incorporate this. A lot of the time people are willing to, you know, trust you as an artist and kind of put together something from what they've sent you. We're at Bunraku Tattoo in Leicester in the city centre. So, you know, we have 6 people working in the shop. They've all got customers, some of them bring friends, so it's very busy. You know, I've worked in shops where it's very serious and very quiet, but this shop's like, everyone just has a laugh, and I think that's really important. It puts customers at ease. Generally just makes your days fly by, like we're all having a laugh constantly. Every day is good fun. I definitely say that I've made friends from tattooing, like customers that come in, you know, sometimes you just really click with people. You're spending like 8 hours a day with them sometimes, you know, so you really get to know each other. Yeah, it's good, man. And every day is completely unpredictable, you know, you're always dealing with different types of people. Everyone's got interesting stories to tell you. I think it's interesting, man, like, you know, people have got so much to say, you know, it's a good side of the job, you know. I used to be really shy and I wasn't good at talking to people that I'd not really met before, but you know, this job forces you to be able to talk to anybody, and I definitely carry that now. You know, I feel able to approach nearly anyone and have a conversation with them. I think patience as well, you know, the process of tattooing is such a long process. It teaches you patience massively. It's hard to say like if any particular piece stands out, you know, like you give 110% to everything that you do. More like subject matters, like I love tattooing animal heads, pocket watches. If I had to pick like one thing, that classic image of Frankenstein's monster, I tattooed that on someone's hand. I was really happy with how it healed and stuff. The pressure is immense every day. You have to put everything into that tattoo. Everything else has to be blocked out, and that is your sole focus. So you get so lost in what you're doing. When you finish the tattoo, you feel really accomplished. It's an elating feeling. It's, you know, it's good, man. I would say the most satisfying aspect is, when someone looks in the mirror for the first time and they're really ecstatic about what you've done. It can really change other people's lives. That's an amazing thing to see naturally when someone looks in the mirror for the first time after you've done a tattoo. I think that's pretty special. They say tattooing is addictive. You definitely get that sense from people, that they start thinking of other things they can get or how they can extend it. I just think from the outside, if you've not done it before, it's quite a daunting, sort of scary process. But once you've experienced it, you realise this is actually like one of the fucking coolest things in the world. Every day you're learning something new and it's surprising, like no day is the same as the last. It's a constant learning experience. It never ends, which is part of the thing I find so addictive about it. It's an endless journey. I'm massively interested in the history of tattooing. I think anyone that tattoos should take an interest in it. Right now, you have loads of models and stuff that have are covered in tattoos, so that's inspiring younger people to get tattooed. You're experiencing the biggest boom in tattooing that's probably ever had. And it always comes in waves. It will go underground again. It used to be soldiers and prisoners and people like that had tattoos. It's always going to be a generational thing of how they're viewed. But I think now it's more accepted than ever, and I think that's a great thing.